Hey everybody, RJ from High Elevation Training back again, and I wanted to talk to you about my experience of being lost myself. I talked earlier today about getting caught in the vague and how we get lost in being vague with ourselves, and I spent probably a third of my life completely lost, and I just wanted to take a minute and share that with you. Growing up, wanted to please people. I was constantly looking for approval and constantly trying to figure out what I could do in order to get that approval from people. So I was trying all these different things and I was completely lost because I didn't know who I was. I hadn't figured out my own identity yet. And basically, it took me going out into the world and trying as much stuff as I possibly could to actually little by little start understanding who I was and what I was really into. And the amazing thing is that it gave me a tremendous amount of life experience. It gave me a tremendous amount of knowledge on my own ability as a human being. I mean, some of the stuff that I've done is completely insane and so difficult that I know that even in hard times, I will always be able to persevere because I put myself into hard situations. But when I was lost, I had no sense of that at all whatsoever. I was just floating around and I'm gonna go to college and I'm going to study this and then people will respect me because I have a degree in this. And then I graduated and nobody gave a crap about my degree. And then, they said, you don't have enough experience. And I went and got jobs in the oil field and in sales and as a financial advisor. And then I was a bartender and a valet and I literally name it. And I went and tried it because I was trying not to necessarily find a job to give myself wealth. But that was part of it. That was the drive behind it because we're in this society that just says, hey, you don't mean anything unless you have something that you can offer. And if you don't have money or experience or, a skill that you can provide to me, then I don't even care. And I went out and I was like, okay, I'm going to go and try and find money. And so I'm going to be a financial advisor. And no, who wants to hear financial advice from a 23-year-old? Absolutely no one, right? So that was a complete bust. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go get a skill set. And I started learning how to build houses. And then they were like, oh, well, you don't have money. So bam, another bust, right? And then it's like, oh, I'm going to go be a bartender and I'll be that super cool guy that makes drinks and talks to all the ladies and everything. And nope, it was just another boring guy, just another guy, right? That with no identity. And finally, as I started taking on some of the harder things that I wanted to do. So for example, like I went to Alaska and was a commercial fisherman just to see how hard and how far I could push myself. And I gained a tremendous amount of knowledge just from the adventure of doing that. And that has actually carried me so far because that was probably one of the scariest instances I've ever been in. And when I started doing that, and then I was in personal growth, and I had people actually asking me the questions of like, hey man, you've been telling me all this stuff about like all these other people and things that you did with them, but what about you? And I started opening up my mind, and then I started getting into production, and I've always been in events, and I've always been really good in music and lights and things like that my whole life. And I just look back on it now and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to do that when I was in high school, just farting around. And it ended up being this really great skill set that I turned into an amazing business. So it's amazing that if you pay attention to some of the little things and start pursuing the things that you're interested in, how you can really find yourself in the little nuanced things that you even just took for granted when you were younger. So pay attention to those things. And as you're trying to discover yourself and get out of this web of vague and focusing on the things that you're into, then like the whole world is going to start opening up to you. And then you can start getting into the success and the wealth and the freedom and the stability and security As you start discovering yourself, you'll start attaining more of those things, and you'll just feel better about doing it anyway. So thanks for watching. Thanks for letting me share this story with you, and we'll talk a little bit later.